The day began like any other in the modest town of Roosevelt. The dawn light spread gently over tiled roofs, children laughed in courtyards, and the wind whispered secrets through the dusty air. Yet for Alina, this morning felt different. Her heart thumped with a strange mixture of hope and fear. She had kept the secret in her mind, buried beneath layers of daily chores, smiling faces, and polite conversations, but now it felt alive and urgent. Today, she would either risk everything, or regret that she never tried. Alina stood at the edge of the old stone bridge that arched above the river. From here, she could see the current rushing in silver ribbons, carrying leaves and small twigs downstream. The town, though peaceful, felt like a cage. Life had settled into routines, and ambitions, if spoken, were softly laughed away. But Alina had a vision. She believed she was meant for more. She believed there was a truth hidden under the ordinary, a calling that whispered to her every night in dreams. Her childhood had not been easy. Her mother died when she was young. Her father, a simple carpenter, worked hard to raise her. He taught her to shape wood, to feel its grain, to respect its strength, but he also taught her to stay small, to be safe. The world is not kind to dreamers, he used to say, sanding a piece of oak in their workshop at dusk. Still, Alina dreamed. At night, she would lie awake listening to the wind, imagining distant places, unseen mysteries, and a life beyond Roosevelt. That morning, she carried with her a small leather satchel, filled with a few essentials, a worn journal, a quill pen, 2 loaves of bread, and a small piece of her father's finest work, a carved wooden amulet he had made when she was a child, polished smooth by her small hands. The amulet was shaped like a phoenix, its wings outstretched as though ready to take flight. Alina's plan was simple yet terrifying. She would leave Roosevelt, find the fabled Tower of Echoes, a place whispered of in old tales, and discover whether her dreams were simply her imagination or something more. Legend said that the Tower of Echoes was a place where one could hear the truth of their soul, where hidden power whispered back, and where one's purpose would be revealed. As she crossed the bridge, her feet echoing softly on the stone, she paused and looked back at her hometown. The rooftops, the chimneys, the winding streets, all looked smaller than she remembered, as though life in Roosevelt was shrinking behind her. She felt a pang of guilt. What if her father needed her? What if she failed? But the tug of something greater pulled her forward. She took a deep breath, steadying herself, and stepped away from the town. Journeying beyond Roosevelt was not easy. The road wound through dense forests, rugged hills, and narrow valleys. At first, Alina greeted the journey with excitement. Every rustling leaf, every bird's call felt like an invitation. But soon, fatigue set in. Her feet ached, her satchel grew heavy, and at twilight, she sometimes wondered if she was chasing a foolish dream. One evening, she camped beside a silver lake. The moon rose lazily, painting the water with shimmering light. She pulled out her journal and wrote, "If this is real, I will find the tower. If not, I will at least know I tried." As she wrote, her thoughts drifted to her father's workshop, to his steady hum as he carved wood, to the smell of sawdust and pine. She missed him more than she expected. Suddenly, a soft voice disturbed her reverie. It's rare to find someone traveling for something so intangible. She looked up to see a figure seated at the water's edge, a hooded traveler whose face was hidden in shadow. She started, then closed her journal, unsure whether to speak. "Who are you?" she asked after a moment. The traveler pulled back the hood, revealing a woman whose eyes glowed like amber in the moonlight. Her hair was silver, her skin lined as though she had lived many lives. "I am called Seraphine," the stranger said, her voice calm and warm. "And you, child, carry something powerful." Alina's heart skipped. "I don't know what I carry," she admitted. "But I feel it, a calling." Seraphine nodded slowly. "Many do, but few have the courage to answer." She gestured to the lake. "This water," she said, "is like the soul. Still, deep, and full of reflection. But its surface can lie to you. The truth lies beneath." She paused, looking into Alina's eyes. "Tell me what you seek." Alina hesitated. Then she told Seraphine everything. The dreams, the longing, the stories of the tower. In the night breeze, her words felt fragile but also full of fire. When she finished, Seraphine was silent for a long time. Finally, she spoke. "The Tower of Echoes is not a place for the faint of heart. If you reach it, you will face your deepest fears, not as nightmares, but as challenges you must overcome. It will demand sacrifice. Are you ready for that?" Alina closed her eyes, the moonlight cool on her face. She remembered her father's voice, his gentle warnings, his love. She remembered his hands carving that phoenix for her, believing in her long before she believed in herself. She opened her eyes and nodded. Yes. Seraphine stood, stretching, and reached into her cloak. She pulled out a small, crystalline orb that glowed within her light. Take this, she said, handing it to Alina. It will help you when the path darkens. But use it wisely, its power is tied to your spirit, not just to magic. Alina accepted the orb with trembling fingers. Its warmth spread through her palm like liquid light. She felt for a moment as though she understood something deeper, as though a chord had been struck. Seraphine smiled faintly. Rest now, she said. Tomorrow, your journey truly begins. Alina watched the woman fade into the trees, then lay back on the grass, clutching the orb to her chest. The night was quiet but alive, full of whispers of wind, rustling leaves, and her own heart beating like a drum. As she drifted into sleep, she thought, whatever lies ahead, I will meet it. I will find the tower. I will find myself. And in that resolve, she felt both small and infinite, as though something in her had finally awakened. When dawn broke, Alina awoke to a muffled silence. The lake was calm, the trees still, and Seraphine was gone. For a moment she felt disoriented, alone, but then she remembered the orb in her hand, warm and humming softly. That small light gave her strength, a promise that she was on the right path. She packed her belongings, secured the amulet around her neck, and rose. The forest ahead was denser now, filled with shadows and strange shapes. As she walked, the orb glowed faintly when she felt fear, its warmth pulsing like a heartbeat. She trusted it, though she didn't fully understand how. Hours passed. The forest floor rose and fell beneath her feet. Thorny bushes clawed at her sleeves, low branches tapped her hair. At midday, she came to a clearing, where the sunlight poured in like liquid gold. In the center stood a single ancient tree, its trunk white and gnarled, its branches cracked and twisted. At its base lay a stone altar, moss-covered, weathered, and strangely familiar. She felt drawn to it. As she approached, she sensed a presence. The air shifted. The orb grew warmer. Alina placed her hand on the altar. Suddenly, visions flashed in her mind. A younger Alina in her father's workshop, her tiny hands tracing the phoenix amulet he made, her mother's gentle smile, the night sky full of stars, the tower of echoes, tall and spiraling, its windows glowing like eyes. She gasped and stepped back, breath coming fast. From behind the tree stepped another figure. This time, a man, tall, cloaked in forest green, with hair the color of bark. His voice was soft but firm. You have come far, Alina. But this is only the beginning. Alina's heart raced. How do you know my name? She whispered. He nodded. I know of the orb, of your longing, and of your destiny. I am Rowan, a guardian of the path. Many paths lie before you, but only one leads to the tower. He studied her. Do you wish to go on? She swallowed. Yes, more than anything. Rowan smiled faintly. Then follow me. He turned, and she followed through a narrow tunnel of trees, a hidden path woven through roots and stone. The forest seemed to shift around her, as though alive, the branches murmured, the moss glowed, and the air was thick with ancient energy. After what felt like hours, they emerged into a valley bathed in twilight, even though the sun was still high. Mist curled around rock formations that pierced the sky. In the distance, she saw the Tower of Echoes, tall, majestic, and imposing. It looked older than time itself, carved in pale stone that seemed to pulse with memories. Welcome, Rowan said quietly, his voice reverent. This is the Valley of Whispers. Here, the tower draws its strength. Alina felt both exhilarated and terrified. She stepped forward, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The orb in her hand glowed brighter, guiding her. As they approached the tower, she could feel its presence pressing on her mind. Whispers, soft, indecipherable, brushed against her consciousness. Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. Be steady, the echoes will test you. Alina nodded, gripping her amulet. She felt the warmth of the orb and let it steady her. Together, they climbed the spiral steps carved into the tower's exterior, each step echoing beneath her feet. Inside, the air was cool and still. The chamber was vast, vaulted, lit by a pale, shifting light that seemed to come from nowhere. Alina paused, breath caught in her throat. The walls were covered in mirrors, not ordinary mirrors, but looking glass surfaces that shimmered, rippled, and breathed. In them, she could see reflections, but not just her own. She saw memories, fears, hopes. She saw her mother's face, her father's workshop, the forest, herself as a child, and herself as she might become. The whispers grew louder, shaping into words. Who are you? Why do you seek? What do you fear? They echoed in her mind and reverberated through her heart. Rowan motioned to one of the mirrors. Step forward, he said. Let the echo speak. Alina hesitated, then placed her hand on the mirror's surface. It rippled. She closed her eyes and leaned in. The whisper came, gentle but firm. You are the dream. You are the longing. You are the choice. Suddenly, the mirror cracked, a jagged line splitting it from top to bottom. The shards fell away like petals, revealing a dark void beyond. Alina gasped. The void was not empty. It was full of shifting shadows, memories, and images of what could be. She felt as though she were looking into her soul. A voice, deeper than the whisper, spoke. To heal is to break. To grow is to lose. Are you ready? Alina swallowed. Her mind drifted to her father's hands shaping wood, to the pain of loss, to the fire in her dreams. She closed her eyes and nodded. In an instant, the orb in her hand flared, light bursting outward, filling the room. The mirrors shattered all around her, and the wind roared in her ears. The images swirled, and she felt as though she were falling into herself, into the memories, into a place where pain and hope were intertwined. She cried out, but it was not fear, it was release. She saw her mother's smile, heard her father's laughter, felt the weight of every regret and every longing. Then the light grew softer, and the whirlwind quieted. The tower was still, the mirrors gone, replaced by a single clear pane of glass. Through it, she saw herself, calm, centered, strong. Rowan stood beside her. You passed, he said quietly. Not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. Alina touched the glass. What now? He smiled. Now, the tower's power is yours. But power comes with purpose. You must carry it out, not just inward, but outward. The world beyond this place needs more than dreams, it needs action. She breathed deeply, the orb in her hand still warm, the amulet against her chest a steady reminder of home. I understand. Rowan nodded. Then go. The path back will be different. You are not the same Alina who walked in. You are changed. Use your voice. Use your fire. Alina stepped through the glass. The world blurred, spun, then snapped back. She found herself at the top of the tower, looking out at the valley, the forest, and the distant horizon. The wind ruffled her hair, and the orb's glow dimmed, settling into a steady pulse. She closed her eyes and whispered a promise. I will carry this truth. I will not forget this moment. And I will not go back to who I was. As she made her way down the spiral staircase, she felt lighter, freer, but also more grounded. She had risked everything, confronted her deepest fears, and emerged with power. The journey had changed her. When she finally stepped out of the tower, Rowan was waiting. He looked at her with respect and warmth. You are ready, he said simply. Alina nodded. Thank you, he smiled. This is not the end. It is only the beginning. The world awaits your story. Alina looked at the valley, at the horizon, the whispering trees, and the sky. She realized then that her dream was not just for her, it was for many. She felt a surge of purpose, of determination, of love. She lifted the orb, and it glowed softly. Then she turned, stepped away from the tower, and began her journey back, knowing that when she returned to her home, she would not just be a dreamer, she would be a guide, a spark, a beacon. Call to action, motivation to subscribe. If you've followed Alina's journey, her risk, her courage, and her transformation, then you know what a powerful story can do. Her path was not easy, but she believed in something greater than fear. And that's the kind of story I want us to build together on this channel. If you enjoyed this narrative, if it inspired you, moved you, or made you think, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you become part of this adventure. Every week, I'll bring you more stories like Alina's, tales of courage, of self-discovery, of magic and meaning. Your support helps me make these stories stronger, more vivid, and more real. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and share. Tell me which part of Alina's journey resonated with you the most, or what kind of story you want to see next. Together, we can build a community of dreamers and doers, people who don't settle for small lives, but chase the echoes of something bigger. Subscribe now, and join me on this journey.